Hi there, this is John Drew here from Elevated Planet. If you are interested in making money, if you're interested in investing, if you're interested in the lives of billionaires and identifying how their lives are playing out now and how they may play out in the future, you are going to want to watch this interview. Hi there, Elevated Planet community. This is John Drew here from Elevated Planet, and I am here with my good friend, Mr. Chris Stiles from 365 Pin Code. How are you doing today, Chris?
Hello, John. I'm well, thank you, and lovely to be back. Thank you again for the opportunity to share some more of my human futurology research through your wonderful platform, Elevated Planet.
I'm delighted you're here because, I always learn so much during these interviews. And it's fascinating because, we're digging under the surface today of a couple of very household names, people who are very interesting globally now.
Well, yeah, John, to your point, tonight we are chatting about Elon Musk and Sir Richard Branson. Both of them billionaires, both of them massively successful individuals. But I think the essence of tonight is that I'm going to be using the intelligence that exists within their mathematical or numerical blueprints. And I'm going to be sharing that intelligence through your wonderful platform, Elevated Planet, which is all about raising consciousness, getting people to think differently. And thank you for the tremendous work that you and the team are doing. And as I present these numbers, and I love this, John, because we're actually talking numbers. We're talking numbers, we're talking data matrices, we're talking sequences, we're talking hard stuff here. This is not away with the fairies, woo-woo science. And I'm actually going to show you how within the lives of these two billionaires, there are moments in time where there are critically important repeating sequences. Now, with the intelligence that I have now developed, when given the correct data and the correct starting information, I can generate this type of mathematical modeling output for absolutely anybody. And I'm at the moment running it from birth through to the age of 100, and I have now actually expanded the mathematical model, which I know you've experienced, to 22 dimensions. I mean, this is the space I'm now starting to work in. So I've absolutely exploded it. If you think of Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, with the legs open, the arms outstretched in a circle around it. Well, I've exploded that into 22D, and I'm now working with blended numbers. So this is really fascinating. And the thing is, the numbers are laser accurate. But John, why I'm excited tonight and why I'm delighted to be bringing this groundbreaking research into the world of business through the likes of yourself and Elevated Planet is because this is how one now starts to introduce what I call the spiritual quotient into the world of business, into the world of corporates. In fact, it is into the world of human potential or human performance. So any place where people are involved and you are looking to understand what the risks are around that person, and what is the potential return on investment? This is what this intelligence does, these data matrices that I built with numbers that combine in such a way that they're either congruent, which is revealing good opportunity, or not congruent, antagonistic, which means there's a high level of risk. Now, just think about this in terms of being able to risk manage a person. Just think about this in terms of being able to risk manage your investment. Take, for example, Dragon's Den, John, that wonderful program on British TV. led by Deborah Meaden, who's the head dragon. Now, when these entrepreneurs walk in and they make a pitch to the dragons, they are pitching a business, they're pitching a concept, and the dragons are sitting there and they're making their decisions. And they're saying, look, yes, I like you, I like what I see, I like the business. They're investing in the business, they're investing in the model, and they're also investing in the person that they see in front of them. But they are only able to see that person at that moment in time. They are only able to understand that person retrospectively. There is no way at this moment in time that anybody can provide one of the dragons with a set of forward or future-looking data that would provide insights into SWOT-type thinking around the that lie ahead for this individual. And this is where people say you cannot predict the future. And I'm saying, hold on a moment. I actually think you may not be able to predict the events in the future, but with this intelligence, you can most certainly take a highly informed view of what the next couple of years look like and understand risks and potential risks through the way numbers are combining. And the thing is, John, this is not thumbs up, as you know. You know, this is a massive, this is years and years and years and years and years of research that I've done, modeling, testing to get it to a point where it is bullseye accurate. And you know that because you've had the experience yourself.
Yeah, so totally. And not just me, but also with Jolie, you did a very super accurate one as well for Faye Vale. I remember going back when we were doing our interview with Faye going back a year or so ago. And time after time, it does come out, as you say, bullseye accurate on certain points. And you don't really even know it at the time. But when you look back retrospectively, oh, yeah, that was what that was relating to. Because as you say, it doesn't tell you what that event is going to be. But you can see like the energetic influences that are going to push against you or give you the wind in your sails to go forward a specific time. So it's an interesting way of looking at things, and kind of, you know, from a personal point of view, you know, it tells you when you can put your foot on the accelerator a little, and also times when you have to be a little bit more wary, take a step back and just say, okay, well, I know I could be vulnerable about now under certain circumstances. I need to be diligent.
John, absolutely. And the thing is, as I say, in terms of human potential and in terms of managing people and in terms of getting a completely new set of optics around an individual, this is exactly what this does. And just think how important this is, not only just in terms of managing people, but even in terms of investing. You know, investing in somebody or looking at a company and saying, hold on a moment, you know, this company's just been taken over by this new CEO. What is the intelligent mathematical matrix of this CEO saying for the next couple of years? Yes. And on the back of that, what does this potentially mean in terms of investing and stock movements and all of this? And as I'm going to show you in the slide presentation shortly, I'm not going to take a massive amount of time on each slide. It's just purely to be able to reveal, using the life journey of Elon Musk and Sir Richard Branson, critically important years, repeating sequences. Now, when you've got this type of information, just think about what you're sitting on. The thing is, John, the work that I'm revealing tonight and presenting tonight is the work, my work. It's a one-man band. It's a solo effort at this stage. I'm scratching the tip of an iceberg here. I really am. Underneath lies so much more. So imagine this kind of intelligence being developed upon by highly skilled teams, you know, people with mathematical modeling skills that go way beyond mine, you know, statisticians, etc., taking big data sets and rigorously testing them, you know, looking for correlations and this and this and that. Now what we're doing is we're actually taking this human intelligence, which really flows from the spiritual dimension of who we are. We are an expression of spirit. That's what humans are. Yeah. We are an expression of spirit. So if we are an expression of spirit, and this spiritual expression can be quantified and qualified through numbers, well, then surely, John, this is how the world of business the corporate world, the multinational corporates, the blue chips or whatever, small businesses, football clubs, etc., it doesn't matter, can actually begin to look at how spiritual quotient is brought into the world of work. Because honestly, John, if you speak about the spiritual quotient, what I could call SQ, and you and I are on the same page here, you speak about SQ to a senior exec in a company, and for them it will be, oh my goodness gracious, eye roll, and it's like, you've got to be joking. I'm run off my feet here. Everything that I'm doing is IQ. Then I'm doing my best to keep the EQ boat afloat, because otherwise I get hammered at the end of the year when I have my performance appraisal. How am I going to get around to SQ? And immediately for them, it becomes a tick box exercise.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, geez, if I've got to do this, just let me get it done. Let me get it out of my life so that I can get on with the stuff that matters. The reason SQ has not mattered within the world of corporate is because there has been no tangible way to take the spiritual dimension of us on an individual level and break it down into nuts and bolts in such a way that it could be leveraged for a greater understanding of risk, investing, profit, etc., etc. Typical SWOT thinking. And that's what we're doing. And always, as always, John, I'm eternally grateful to you and Elevated Planet for providing a mouthpiece through which this, and I like to think of it as revolutionary research, can be put into the public place. And who knows, maybe end up in front of some of the dragons.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm pretty confident that, I don't know what the timing is going to be on this, but over the next decade, this is going to be coming to the forefront. I think there's various ways of looking at our spiritual heritage, if you like, and how this is now growing within us. This is part of the Great Awakening, is realizing that we are not just a human body. We are a spiritual being having a human experience. And there we have a blueprint when we come in as to how this is supposed to play out, life experiences that we're going to go through, things that we have to conquer and move on. And wherever I have looked at multiple angles of this, and I love what you do in terms of the human futurology, because I've seen the evidence time and again of how accurate it is. But whenever I've been looking at different, channeled energies and various other things, they always come back to say, the ones that I have an awful lot of respect for, always at some point will say, oh yeah, but it all comes back to numbers. Always. It always comes back to numbers. Everything is broken down into numerical sequences. Now, it's a very difficult one for us on a mortal level to get our head around. How can it be? You got numbers 1 to 9 and you've got sequences. How can that map out our lives? So I totally get it, where from a mainstream perspective, you would look at this and think it's just deluded nonsense. But I know it's not. I know it's not, because I've seen it and experienced it. And
well, John, also, I know it's not, because this is how I live.
Yeah.
Remember, I am clinically diagnosed with Asperger's and autism. I'm a very, very, very high functioning autistic individual, but I score massively high on the autistic spectrum. And the thing is, I never understood why, from the time I was tiny, I always looked at things in patterns. I used to organize things in patterns. I used to count things as I went along. And I never knew what was going on, but it was how I was making sense of my world. And, having Asperger's and being autistic, living in this world is not easy. I can tell you right now, there are many days I scratch my head and think, jeepers, I really struggle with some things in terms of day-to-day life. But when it comes to numbers, when it comes to patterns and things that really interest me, because I have a tremendous interest in trying to understand, humanity on a numerical level, then it's all there.
Yes.
And I think the wonderful thing about this is that when this intelligence is unlocked, and remember, I'm not saying that I've unlocked it, John, all I am presenting here is the beginning. This is the beginning. Where this is going to go, oh my goodness gracious me. Probably in 10, 15 years' time, this field of human futurology, as I like to call it, will probably be so massive with such deep understanding. But already, I know that that we have a numerical makeup. And when that is tapped into, there is genius inside of that. Like, as I'm going to show you now, 2012 was an amazing year for Elon Musk. Amazing. And we'll go into it. Now, in 2012, who would have thought that in 2021, now look at those two numbers, look at those 2 years, 2012 and 2021. All you've done is transpose the two numbers.
Right.
Yep. There would be an identical line of code playing out in his 365 pin code intelligent mathematical blueprint. And in 2021, Elon Musk was Times Person of the Year. So 2012 was a golden year. Now, if I had known then what I know now, looking at his intelligent mathematical blueprint and his data matrices, as we're going to have a look at now in the slides, I could have already looked into the future to 2021 and said, oh my goodness gracious me, look at this guy. I mean, if this line of code has delivered a golden year for him, the probability of 2021 being another golden year is massive. So the thing is, then, what do you want to do? You're going to watch him. You're going to study him. You're going to do everything you can. If he does something, you're going to buy his shares. You know, it's like, hold on a moment. I'm going to invest in this guy because, you know, selfishly, hey, I could make a ton of money on the back of this. And this is what excites me, John. And again, you know, I know that you come from a business background. You know, you manage teams. And this is why it is so lovely for me to be able to bring this research, which I believe has incredible value on a business and an executive and strategic thinking and planning management level, to the world through your platform. So once again, thanks, John. And I think if you're ready, John, maybe we just pull up the slides.
Let's do that.
Brilliant. Thank you, John. So the first mini case study, if you will, is looking at Elon Musk. South African born, you know from my accent that I'm South African, so there's an inordinate amount of love there for what he's done. I also believe that Elon Musk has Asperger's, you know, so heaven only knows. Maybe we're looking at the world through a fairly congruent set of lenses. But I just love this guy. And anyway, full birth name, Elon Reeve Musk, core name, Elon Musk, date of birth, 28 June 1971. So, John, the slides that I'm going to flick through now will be incorporated at the end of the pack by yourself. Yes. I know you always do that.
Yes.
But this is not about death by PowerPoint or going, you know, delving into the numbers or whatever. I know they're there. I know they're right. This is about revealing patterns and actually starting to blow people's minds in terms of what if you had known this beforehand? What would you have done differently, especially from an investment perspective? Right, so John, if we go to the next page, here we basically just pull up on the left a very detailed birth chart that I have pulled together, which reveals that he's got a number 7 life path, which brings this year into play in a really big way, 2023, because it is a number 7 universal year. We can also see that his professional career attainment number is 1999. That's in the top right-hand corner. That reduces down to the number 28. If you add all those numbers, that immediately tells us 2028 is going to be a massive year for him, which makes sense because he's born on the 28th. If we flick to the left, where you've got that sun in the top left-hand corner, and the little birthday cake, you can see the number 34, which is 28 plus 6. You know, there's 34. That immediately is a massive reveal in terms of the fact that 2034 is going to be a huge year for him. When I take something like this and I do these calculations, immediately there's headline intelligence that pops out at me, which allows me to be able to start to cherry pick and say, so this is going to be an important year. That's going to be important here, another important year. John, if you take your cursor down and to the right, to the red 9 in the yellow block, there we go. Now, just to the right of that, we can see what his final pinnacle number is. It's sequence 24 in blue, 24, 15, 6. This brings 2024 into play in a massive way. And I know this because I've built and analyzed thousands of charts. So these are not thumb sucks. So the thing is, I'm already revealing future intelligence to people around Elon Musk that they don't even know. You know, 24 is going to be a critical year for him in terms of a pinnacle experience, which is like an Everest. I've just revealed the importance of 2028. I've just revealed the importance of 2034. And this is just done. I mean, what I'm dealing with here is absolute 101. This is intro stuff. This is not even taking all the data that I leverage into a mathematical model. And on the right over here, John, where we look at his name and analyzing the name, we can see that he scores highest where the top bull's eye is. Number 5 is his hidden passion, 208%. That explains why the guy's a brilliant innovator. He loves it. He loves change. He loves adrenaline. He loves to break and rebuild things and challenge the status quo. The call name Soul Urge, if we move down, the next bullseye is 14.5. And there it is. And his call name Spiritual Vibration brings in the sequence 14.5. So there's just a very high-level snapshot reveal, that 14.5 is a very important sequence in the world of Elon Musk. Okay? Right, so let's move on to the next page. This is what I do. I engage in modeling. I take information, I run data, and then I start to build summaries like this. And what do we see? Well, if we go to 1994, which is on the left over there, we see that is the first time that 14.5 comes in. And there it is. It's one of the sequences, 14.5, 23.5, 9.9. Now, as we'll see on the next page, and there's no need to flick to it, but that was a very important year because that was a year when he was massively involved with projects in Silicon Valley. I think it was the year that he was offered a PhD opportunity, but it was a critically important year for him. Now we carry on and we go and have a look. And when do we see 14.5 presenting again? Well, we go up and we see there it is, 2011, 2012, and 2013. And if we look at the red, the purple and the blue numbers, we can see that they're identical to the ones that were in 1994. So there's a repeating sequence. Now we go down. Let's have a look at 2017. There's another repeating sequence. Now we go down, 2021. There's the repeating sequence. Now, John, I know absolutely nothing about Elon Musk. I've never even had the privilege of meeting the guy. I've read what I can about him. But the thing is, I was able to generate this, and I can generate this for any single human being on the planet, as long as I'm given the critically important data points.
Yes.
Now, imagine in 1994, when he was being identified as a hotshot. Yes. Imagine in 1994 if potential investors looking at this guy had said, hold on a moment, this kid, if I can call it that, is going to shoot the lights out. Now, there's a very high probability. So you look at 1994 and you add the numbers together. 1994 gives you 23, 2 and 3 is 5. So 1994 is a number 5 universal year. Oh, my word, look at this. 2012 is the next number 5 universal year because the 2, the 0, the 1, and the 2 add up to a 5. We've got exactly the same numbers repeating in sequence format. Oh, my word, could that be a golden year for Elon Musk? If it is going to be a golden year for Elon Musk, what could we do to make it even more golden? This is why I talk about Dragon's Den thinking. Are you with me? Because this is the kind of stuff that dragons are looking for. If they onboard someone now, is there potentially a real hotspot that's going to happen around this person in the next 5, 6, 7 years? And if it is, what am I doing to optimize and maximize that future potential which sits within their intelligent numerical blueprint? Now, look, John, if you go down from 2012 to 2021, in the year, all you've done is transpose the numbers. It's still a number 5 universal year, and there it repeats again. 14.5, 23.5, 9.9 repeats again in 2023 and 2024. Then again in 2036 and 2037. Then again in 2042, 43, 44, and then again in 2051. Now, the thing is, I don't know of a single person on this earth who could reveal this kind of intelligence around someone as high profile as Elon Musk. I'm sitting here, we're in 2023, and I can tell you that exactly the same numerical sequences that are hot numbers. I mean, these are hot numbers for you. I know he's had a nightmare with Twitter and all of that, but he's such a smart guy. He's doing something that other people can't even fathom. But look at that, next year it's got exactly the same sequences. That reveals another hotspot. The next hotspot is 20, 36, 37, 42 to 44, 51. John, when you start sitting with this, and I know you can understand now why I'm getting excited, because, I mean, come on, imagine having this kind of intelligence around CEOs or, a company or something like this. You suddenly, hold on a moment, I want to buy these shares or invest in this person. Because if I've got this right, oh my word, the shares I'm buying now could be printing money in 5, 8, 10 years' time. And the thing is, John, everything that I've revealed here around Elon Musk comes from the spiritual dimension. This is the spirit of Elon Musk presented, quantified, qualified in numerical format. Now, I don't know of a single CEO or investor or person on this planet who wouldn't find this fascinating, who wouldn't immediately see the potential in these numbers. So surely this has immediately revealed how to bring the spiritual quotient into business, into corporates, into executive management, into the investment, strategic think tanks, et cetera, because here it is. This is what you're looking for. And the thing is, John, these numbers I know are bullseye accurate because we've proven them over and over and over and over again. That's the only reason I'm doing these videos with you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the evidence just kind of piles on top of evidence all the time. So yes, this is amazing, but as you say, it's very powerful as well, because, having managed people before, having gone through evolution of business, to have something like this that helps to guide the way. I mean, you can imagine how empowering it is.
And that's exactly it, John. Thank you for using that word, empowering. This is game changing. And this is why I have so much love for the work that you are doing, because every day you are out there, working and driving the importance of spirituality and how spirituality needs to be leveraged in a completely different way into life. And, John, I guess just my gift is with numbers and patterns and sequences and all of this. And I'm just really glad that somehow we're finding a practical way to bring this in, because this is how people will now start to sit up and pay attention. Let's take a massive company like Coca-Cola, for example. If the CEO of Coca-Cola were to see this, the question is, how can you not have this intelligence in place around every single one of your employees in Coca-Cola? If you want to be an employer of choice, if you want to really grow people, if you want to really manage people, not only manage them, grow them, but also risk manage them, surely this is the kind of stuff that you should be working with. And what this reveals, John, is it is absolutely possible to start taking an intelligent, well-constructed, forward-looking view of the future. It is not impossible.
I totally get it, and it is powerful stuff. And it's so a question for you then: could you, for instance, as you say, with Coca-Cola or something like that, can you actually take a business name? Can you take a business name, the data it was formed or whatever, and take that forward into a mathematical blueprint as well, just as a point of interest?
Yes, John, I have done that. I have done that reasonably successfully. Look, I have spent much, much more time working on the individual.
Yes.
But for example, what I have showed you here can be rolled up. For example, this is the blueprint of Elon Musk. But let's say Elon Musk was a member of a 12-strong team. Once I'd constructed the intelligent mathematical blueprint and started to create intelligent summaries like this for all 12 people within a team, I could then start to roll all of this up. So you actually get a collective view of, if you will, the spiritual intelligence of all the members of this team. So the opportunity is endless. And this is why I said to you, John, I know I've only scratched the surface here. I genuinely believe that this is something which will evolve. Remember when Bill Gates turned around and said that he wanted to have a desktop, in every single household around the world, and Windows and all of that? Well, this is the way I see this. The the philanthropic vision that I've got for this is that this type of intelligence is being used by hundreds of millions, if not billions of people around the world to help them, number one, better understand themselves, but then also begin to look to their future with a different set of optics.
Yes.
And how wonderful to be able to look into your future. If you're in a tough space, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and you look into your future and you see that, hold on a moment, down the line, there's a golden opportunity. Surely you're going to find some drive to want to go and hit the ball out the park.
Yes.
You know, when that opportunity, yes. The beautiful thing about this, John, is it reveals the seasonality of life, the right. peaks, the troughs. And that's it. You know, as Einstein said, if you want to understand things, look deep into nature. Nature has seasons. Here, using numbers and mathematical intelligence drilled down into bespoke format, I can begin to unpick and reveal the seasons of a person's life. How wonderful and exciting is that?
It's wonderful. And, you know, there's an author called Robert Schwartz who has done an awful lot of work on life planning, you know, the pre-life planning that you do before you come here, before it gets put into code sequences, if you like. For instance, you, Chris, you have this high-functioning Asperger's, but you would not be able to do this. You would never have that level of focus unless you had that condition. There are no accidents, right? You are here on this planet to do this, to open people up to this. And you couldn't do it without that. So in your life planning and your sequences of numbers were always designed to map that into the world, because you couldn't have done it without having that condition to as a blessing and a curse, if you like.
John, you make me smile, because I remember seeing a quote: "A day without wine is like a day without sunshine." You know, because I am autistic and because I've got asthma, I'm obsessive. I mean, I'm absolutely obsessive. And I obsess over numbers and patterns and sequences and charts and accuracy and intelligence and all of this. But I could not imagine a day of my life without building charts, building or testing something. I'm a nightmare to go away on holiday with, because it's like a chunk of the day has got to be set aside for the. Anyway, I digress. I digress. But I love it. And the thing is, it's because I love this so much that it gives me so much joy. And I think why sequences pop and why I see things. Anyway, John, if we move on to the next slide, which basically is just a summary slide, giving a little bit of a deeper understanding into the years of Elon Musk. What is really important, though, if we go down to the bottom bullet point, is that when we look at those years that he had this really important hot sequence running, there's now a shift, because it's present in 2024, then it's present again in 2042. Now look at this. Remember, I did the 2012 and 2021 as being numbers transposed. Yes. Now we're already talking about the future here. This is what excites me so, John. We're talking about the future. We're sitting here in 2023. We're talking about 2024 and 2042 for Elon Musk. And we're saying, look at this, hot sequences, numbers are being transposed. But hold on a moment, is this not Elon Musk just on a much greater scale, 2012 and 2021 all over again? Right. This is the exciting thing. Now imagine, John, if you had oodles and oodles and oodles of information, brilliant statisticians, guys that are so smart, they honestly make me look like the dumbest person in the room. Imagine if you had all of these minds tearing into this and starting to develop it. I mean, look at what you are tapping into in terms of future intelligence. And it's there. It is there. And the exciting thing is, this is how we can start to look to the future. And it's not a thumbsuck, and it's not pseudoscience, and it's not a way with the fairies, and it's not a gypsy with a crystal ball or something, you know? This is genuine numerical intelligence. Right, so John, now we move on to Sir Richard Branson, another individual who inspires me tremendously. I just love everything about him. You know, again, just wild card. Richard Charles Nicholas Branson, core name Richard Branson, born the 18th of July, 1950. Now, as we go into his charts, the critical thing here, a critically important number, is going to be 15.6. Now, think about the year that he's born in, 1950. That is hinting at a career, at an important career sequence. So 1950, 1950, you add those four numbers, you get 15.
Right.
1 in 5, 6. So what this is basically saying to me is whenever I see a 15-6, I need to start paying attention in terms of career. Okay. These are the clues that I've developed over the years from, as I say, building and testing thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of charts, because now I know what to look for. So if we go on to the next slide, we just see a similar representation for Sir Richard Branson as I had for Elon Musk. But now we move to the really important slide, which is slide 7. I just include that for people that might want to know more. Now look at this, John. Here is the entire life map with 3 critically important sequences for Sir Richard Branson. And throughout his entire life, when I model this from 0 through to 90, I have gone on to 100, but just for the purpose of this summary, I went to 90. There's only twice in this entire 90 years that you get the sequence 33-6, 48-3, and 15-6 repeating. Now, in the past, that was 1997, 1998, and 1999. But looking into the future, he's going to have exactly those numbers repeating for 4 years from 2027 through to 2030. Now, the thing is, as an investor or someone who is fascinated with looking at the future and saying, how can I possibly get a competitive edge in terms of, investment thinking or whatever, or what could it be that, Richard Branson does that if I get in on ground level or whatever, I could potentially do really well in terms of shares or the investment or whatever. Look, think about 1997, John. I mean, in 1997, Richard Branson began Virgin Trains. That's massive. It was one of his biggest ventures ever. He began Virgin Trains in 1997. In fact, the correct date is the 9th of March, 1997. Now, look at how important those 3 years are, 97, 98, and 99. Yeah. Now, if he began something as massive as Virgin Trains in 97, then what is potentially on the cards for him from 2027 through to 2030? I don't know yet. But I mean, how fascinating is it to be able to look into the future of a guy as inspirational and Machiavellian as Sir Richard Branson and say, oh, man, what is this guy going to be up to? What's he cooking? And it's like, oh, so now because you've got this intelligence, you watch him like a hawk. Are you with me? His every move, et cetera, because what is it that potentially he's going to do in that space? But how exciting, John, to be able to know that a guy like Elon Musk, we've taken a forward-looking view of his future. Sir Richard Branson, we've taken a forward-looking view of his future. And with Elon Musk, where we saw that repeating sequence happening quite a number of times, with Sir Richard Branson, it's only twice. He's an entire journey, 97 to 99 and 2027 to 2030. So, this begs the question, what is it? Because guaranteed something's going to happen. I mean, it's there, it's in the blueprint, so it's going to come. And John, I mean, I know I get super excited and super animated and all this, but this is why I'm so thrilled to release this kind of information to the world, to captains of industry, to the head of investment houses, etc., through your mouthpiece, Elevated Planet, because I am not aware of anyone else in the world right now who can provide a forward-looking, intelligent view around the likes of Elon Musk or Sir Richard Branson based on numbers. There it is. Yeah. So if this is the case, and it is being done through 2 spiritually attuned guys, you and me, who really love what we do, through this spiritually elevated planet platform, which is there about escalating consciousness. John, what exists within our spiritual quotient? What is the intelligence that exists within our spiritual quotient? And is the intelligence and the wisdom and the insight and the breakthroughs that exists within this XSQ dimension not bigger than anything that we've even begun to think of on the IQ and the EQ level?
I think it's got to be the future, hasn't it? I think times are changing. I think there is a recognition, there is an awakening going on, which kind of tells people that we are so much bigger than the meat suit of life. The more you look into this, the more you realize, actually, this is a fantastic existence. And there is so much we can do. We have so much freedom to get out there and do it. But actually, let's have a look at our own blueprint. Let's find out when our own golden years are going to be. Let's find out when our life challenges are going to be. And to your point, when you're going through your life challenges, you know that this too shall pass, because you can see in 2 years' time, everything turns into the golden years again. And it's and it gives you something that it can help you to get through the traumas, because we set them for ourselves. We're here, we've set them, they go into this numerical, mathematical blueprint that guides our lives. But to be able to see our own blueprint and to understand a little of the influences, we don't know exactly what those numbers mean. It's like you go back to Dolores Cannon. She used to ask the question, why is it we understand so little about life? The answer was always that there's no point in having a test if you already know the answers. You've got to live it. It's to grow, it's to expand your knowledge, it's to expand your awareness and your consciousness. But the deeper we get into this, life becomes more of a joy. It becomes more of something where you can understand a little bit more about where you're heading and why.
John, absolutely. And what keeps me awake at night is, what is the intelligence behind this grand organized design? I've revealed a flash into the grand organized design of Elon Musk, a flash into the grand organized design of Sir Richard Branson. Now, Sir Richard Branson, born on the 18th of July, 1950, if you take all those various numbers and you add them together, you will discover that he has a master number 22 life path, which is the master builder. Yeah. So he has really leveraged his gift, because, my goodness me, he has done that. However, let's just take a big step back. So the number 22 is a critically important number in the 365 PIN code or design of Sir Richard. Yes. Now we look at Virgin Atlantic. The day that Virgin Atlantic, my most loved airline, started operating, 22nd of June, 1984. So Sir Richard's life path number 22. Virgin Atlantic commenced operations on the 22nd. There's a 22. June, which is a 6, which brings in his career number, brings in his career attainment number. 1984, add those numbers together, 1984. What do you get? 22. So the day that Virgin began, there's a double 22 and a 6. If you go back and you look at that birth chart that I've created for him, and you go and have a look at the top right segment, you can just see there it is. There's the 22 and there's the 6. Bang. So do you think that's random that Virgin Atlantic commenced operation on that date?
No.
You see, a lot of people would say, oh, of course it's random. Look, the thing is, John, having spent years, in fact, this journey that I have been on is now well into, well over a decade, in terms of looking for numbers, looking for patterns, looking for sequences, trying to make sense, then the mathematical modeling, then the testing, then realizing this isn't right, that isn't right, the frustration, the irritation, and then the perspiration, and finally starting to really, really have massive breakthroughs. When the breakthroughs came over and over and over and over and over and over, I realized that what everybody out there thinks is random is not random. What everybody else out there thinks is happenstance is not happenstance. It is all there. It is all residing perfectly within your intelligent mathematical blueprint. The only thing is, we've just never known about it, because we just don't know how to calculate it or express it or present it into this world. And John, basically, that's pretty much it. Just once again, a massive thank you from me to you for the work that you do, for the platform that you have, and for allowing me to bring what I think is real practical nuts and bolts.
Yes.
Around the spiritual quotient, and why real forward-thinking captains of industry should very seriously be thinking about hold on a moment, first there was IQ, then EQ became the rave, but now with SQ, what are we doing to seriously integrate it into how we do business, but in a way that it's not just a tick box exercise?
Yeah.
That it truly provides strategic intelligence. And I think, John, hopefully tonight, you and I have presented the first tranche of evidence that global CEOs should be seriously looking at this.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm, as ever, truly grateful to you, Chris, because, this is what it's all about. It is opening people's minds to an alternative version of reality, but a better version of reality. We're not this small programmed, conditioned kind of person that we've been, encouraged to believe that we are. We're so much greater. We are expansive. We have opportunities to live a life in a way that we didn't realize it was even possible. And I think the kind of data that you produce in the blueprints, again, it aligns. I look at so many different angles of this stuff, but everything aligns. On the numerical side, it makes total sense. Even when you go through like these near-death experiences that people go, they always come back, they have numbers, they have the numerical sequences, and even like music's all numbers, right? Everything comes back to numerical sequences. So to be able to bring this intelligence to us, Chris, I am eternally grateful to you. And
well, John, thanks. It's what I love to do. And, hopefully with a few more tweaks and all of this and a lot more work, I know how much work still needs to go into this, but this is already light years ahead of where I've ever been. Who knows, John, maybe I'll start to find some really nice hot tips for you and you can make a pile of cash through some great investments and fund Elevated Planet.
Thank you. I'll be here with my paper and pencil ready to scribble it all down and get my money down. But yeah, no.
Well, what an exciting space to play in, being able to take a forward-looking view on someone and say, hold on a moment, oh man, this could seriously work, but obviously in an ecological way. I think it's incredibly important. It's not just purely about making money anymore. We're way past that. Yes, it's critically important to make money, but my goodness me, we've got to start thinking about, the impact we're having on the environment and all of this. But John, once again, a heartfelt thanks from me to you for this platform. And I'm delighted that tonight has been so joyous for you and really, from what it looks like, quite a mind-blowing experience.
Yes. I was going to put my cranial retention helmet on before we started, but I've managed to retain it all within. Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to the next one. And I'll catch up with you sometime soon, but thank you again. And thank you also to our Elevated Planet community for tuning in. And any questions that you may have for me or for Chris, please do funnel them through elevatedplanet.life contact page. And we would be happy to come back to you on any specifics that you may have. So thank you, Chris. Thank you all. And we'll see you sometime soon. Thank you.